Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Assistive Technology and Accessibility Weekly News. I appreciate you spending your time with me, and thank you to my new subscribers and followers. If you want notifications for when new episodes drop or for our weekly lives, please subscribe or follow on your preferred platform. I want to apologize about skipping last week's live. I'm feeling much better, so let's get into the news. So the Supreme Court unanimously ruled in favor of students with disabilities in the A.J.T versus Osseo Area Schools, making it easier for them to seek monetary damages under the Rehabilitation Act and the ADA. I don't like the title of this article, so it's there, but whatever. So I'm not a fan of the title of the article that says Supreme Court decisions let students sue schools more easily for disability bias, but it's a good cover of everything. It's just a very biased title for the article, and it's probably sensational, so it'll get more clicks. So meh. Anyway, the court rejected a previously required higher standard of proof that demanded showing bad faith or gross misjudgment by schools instead of aligning education-related claims with the same legal standards used in other disability discrimination contexts. The case involved Ava Tharpe, a Minnesota student with severe epilepsy, whose new school district refused to accommodate her medical needs with an adjusted school schedule. After exhausting state-level remedies, her family sued for damages under the federal disability laws. Lower courts ruled against the family, but the Supreme Court overturned those decisions, affirming that students with disabilities should not face a tougher burden of proof than others seeking redress for discrimination. The ruling was praised by disability advocates as a victory for equal access, while school officials warned that it could increase litigation and strain resources. So, of course, of course they're going to say that, especially with the administration cutting funding to the Department of Education. So, that's something that's just going to have to be worked out. I do have a copy of the actual ruling. I will link it down below. So the West Side Rag reports that there's more to making a subway station accessible than an elevator. MTA C&D president gives the West Side Rag a tour. The MTA, or Metro Transit Association, and that's in New York, is installing an elevator at the West 81st Street Museum of Natural History subway station, with the completion expected by mid to late 2026. Though the project is on schedule, it has brought disruptive noise to nearby residents due to the excavation of hard Manhattan schist rock. I said schist. Just for you, YouTube or any other monitoring apps, schist rock. I'm not cussing. A process expected to continue for about 2 more months. Despite the noise, the author supports the project, recognizing its importance for subway accessibility. The $50 million initiative involves much more than an elevator. Only 10% of the cost is for the elevator itself. The rest funds major accessibility upgrades, repairing century-old staircases, adding a new staircase, leveling platforms for wheelchair access, and installing new electrical and safety systems. This project is part of a broader push to improve accessibility in the New York City subway system. Of 472 stations, 144 are currently considered ADA accessible, with 43 more in progress. The MTA plans to use $7 billion from a newly approved $68.4 billion capital plan to make at least 60 more stations accessible, aiming for 95% accessibility by 2055. And I'll link the article below. Our next story is about the 35-year anniversary coming up of key legislation protecting those with disabilities. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, signed into law in 1990 by President George H.W. Bush, prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all aspects of life. It remains a key force for accessibility and inclusion, according to Anne DeChamps, director of the Mid-Atlantic ADA Center, which does some great training as well. DeChamps emphasized that while ADA has significantly reduced barriers, challenges do remain, particularly around public understanding and attitudes. Misconceptions persist, such as equating disability with inability. Because disability definitions and cases vary, ADA-related questions often depend on specific circumstances. The Mid-Atlantic ADA Center provides free guidance to help interpret the law, and also JAN, the Job Accommodation Network, can help provide guidance as well. And we talked about them a couple of weeks ago. Looking ahead, DeChamps highlighted the importance of web accessibility and urged developers to consider accessibility from the start of app and website design rather than as an afterthought. And that is something we preach here as well. Please start with accessibility. Consult your accessibility team, when you've got a mock-up before you even start, and they can help you. I will link the article below. And yes, we will certainly be celebrating the ADA when the anniversary comes up, but it's getting close. So the training of the week is the Abilities Expo in Chicago. It's free to go. Unfortunately, I'm not going anywhere near Chicago anytime soon, but if you're in the area, I want you to know about it. They're going to have all kinds of assistive technology that you can put hands on, and that's really important to learn about assistive technology. They'll also have quad rugby. I don't know if it's a tournament or if you're just playing. It didn't really go into specifics on the page that I saw, the registration page. You can climb an all-inclusive climbing wall and meet a mini horse and connect with others in the disability community. It's free to get in. It's free to register. So I will put the link below so that you can go if you're in the area and want to go check it out. So now we'll talk about literacy support software. We've already seen a couple of the tools that are built into most literacy support softwares, but are also built into operating systems now, separate applications within those. One is the color overlay, and I specifically demonstrated the color overlay in the literacy support software that I'm going to show you. So we might skip that today, just depending on time. And then there's also text-to-speech built into those, as well as many other like study tools and things like that. So we'll cover a few of those today. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, or you can email me at atchick@atchick.org. Let's get into it. Now let's look at ClaraRead. This is the literacy support software I've used for many years. It's typically used in Europe, whereas text help, which may sound familiar to more of you Americans, is often used in the States. They are both owned by the same company, which used to be Text Help and now is called Everway. So let's take a look at the menu for ClaraRead. It's a floating menu. I can drag it around. I can minimize it. I can also dock it up here in the main toolbar of my MacBook if I want to, and use it as a drop-down menu from there. So first, let's take a look at the buttons on the menu. So you have a play, stop, scan, dictate, homophones, check spelling and grammar, prediction, save audio, extras, and settings. If I go into settings, it will allow me to add and remove buttons from the toolbar if I want. It will let me change the size. Regular and small are what are available on the Mac. So if I want to add font and spacing, I can do that as well, if that's something that I or my student needs. But if I don't need those, I can leave those off. What they generally do is put the most used ones on there, and then you can remove the ones like if you don't need or want the word prediction, you don't have to have that. And in here, I can also choose, the speech, what I want it to speak back at me or echo back at me, characters, words, sentences. I can have it, and I really prefer words and sentences. When it reads, I can have it pause between words, stop after each sentence,
and skip references. And then with the mouse, I can have it speak when I select or speak on hover. So let me turn on the hover for you real quick, but otherwise I'll have to turn it off because that one distracts me way too much. Now, the hover will not work on the text in my Word for Mac document here, but it will work on this menu.
Edit. Predict. Save audio. Highlight. Mouse.
It does not, however, give me a way, and it may in advanced settings. Usually there's, oh, well, on the on the Windows version under Extra, there are advanced settings as well. Apparently on Mac, they don't have those. I've used it. I've used Claro Read on a Windows computer for many years. On Mac, it's slightly more limited. So the settings button is all the way over on the right. The next one to that is the extras button, which are all of the additional apps that you download with this software. So you have Auto Converter, you have Calculator, you have Claro Capture, which is a screen capture and OCR software. You have Claro Ideas, which is graphic organizer software similar to Inspiration or Kidspiration. And many of the literacy support softwares have added this over the last decade or so. You have Claro PDF, which allows you to open in PDF and work with a PDF. OCR and reading and those kind of things if you need that. Although Clara Read will work within another PDF program like Acrobat or Preview on the Mac. You also have Claro View, which we looked at. That's our screen masking, screen color changes, like a color overlay. We have a screen marker, and you also have Screen Ruler, which can allow you to keep your place. I think I have to go in there, and then excuse me, then I can also choose which ones I want to start with Clara Read and quit with Clara Read. I can also add more, it looks like, or remove more. I've not really delved into that too much because I just use it. I'm a very basic user. Save audio allows you to convert any document into an audio document. So if I click this button here, a little finder window comes up to save it. It's got save as, it's got where to save it. And so when I save that, it's going to convert it to an MP3 for me to listen to later using the text to speech. Then I have word prediction. So if I turn that on, let's turn on word prediction, and I'm going to type a couple of things. Oh, sorry, now I got to move my thing. So a little menu comes up where oh, well, the way Macs work, gotta love it. Yeah, here's the screen marker. I'll open that later. I'm trying to find it. Maybe it turned off. Let me see. Yeah, no? Okay, I'll turn word prediction back on. Let's try again. I'm going to move this over here just to make sure it doesn't get covered up. All right, so I have I.
Capital I.
And so once I hit I and space, I now have options. I can either use my mouse to select them, or I can use the F keys to select them. So they're labeled F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, and then you have the words, and then there are actually images next to the words that represent them. So I definitely want the second one. So this time I'm going to click with my mouse.
Am.
I do want very, so
Very.
I don't see the word I want here. So I'm going to start typing excited to see if it comes up. Ah, and it took me several letters, but eventually it came up as the first option. And there's a little person here jumping for joy. I'm going to use the F1 key. Oh, can't do that. Got to use function F1. Oh, whoa. Okay, so it looks like on my Mac it's going to have to be the mouse. Oh, and it completely cleared it out. So let's try again. So yeah, so on my Mac, I'm going to have to use a mouse
Excited.
because it did. I don't know if that was a Word command that caused the emojis to come up, or it was a Mac command. I'm not sure.
About. This.
I don't see that there, so oh, there it is. I only needed 2 letters.
Position.
Period. And when I hit the period, the prediction box goes away. Well, I thought I hit the period, but I guess I didn't. All right, so I'll just turn that back off. And then you have check spelling. And it looks like it's not coming up, so everything looks good, no suggestions. Now homophones, I can show the homophones, I can check the document for homophones. It looks like everything's good there. I actually typed this and I've already gone through it, so I don't really have, let's try this.
Live. An. Live.
See if I can get it to do it. I don't know if it works with Word for Mac. Sometimes the Office or Microsoft Office products for Mac don't always work properly with some of the softwares made for Mac, especially the built-in ones. I know for many years that VoiceOver did not work well with it. I think that has improved quite a bit, but yeah. Okay, and then you have Dictate. But essentially what the homophones button does is it's going to either show you different homophones, it's going to find the homophones. You can also choose to clear homophones. You can tell it that you're good there, or you can have it check the document like spell check. And so, yeah, I'm not sure if this works. This must not work with Word very well. But let's try Dictate. I am very excited for this position, period. There it is, simple enough. And so I have to click the little done button. There's a little window that sits to the side over there. It lets me know it's running. Next, from right to left, you have the scan button. So you can either scan from a paper document, you can scan from a PDF file, or you can scan from the screen now. And then you have the stop button and the play button there at the end. So these are just a few of the options you have. So let's see, let's look at Claro Ideas real quick. Here is an example of how you can set up a graphic organizer or an what is it, idea, a mind map, I think people call it as well. So there's those. And then if I go back to the extras button, we've done Claro View. Let's do screen marker. And I think it likes to pop up behind my stuff for some reason. Nope, not going to happen today. Let's try screen ruler. And here's the screen ruler. So let's say, pick this up if I want. So it'll help me focus on the line that I'm on at the time. It blacks out the rest of the screen. But I can go up here and change it to like an underline um, or an overlay. And so there's another, it kind of does the same thing as, Claro View. And then I just turn that on, change the color. And so, yeah. And I can quit the screen ruler. So they have a lot of different vision things as well where you can go in and, block off other parts of the screen to help you focus as well. Claro Capture is where you're going to use highlighters and other capturing things to pull out notes. It's kind of Text Help has some of this too, but it's more built into the main toolbar as opposed to a separate application. I can do it with the highlighter. Okay. Capture highlighted text in Word.
Training staff in different.
All right, let's give it a try here. Go up here, tell it to take the highlighted text. Okay, and it will keep the color coding of the highlight that I choose. Yeah, and otherwise it would be a selected capture or a screen capture. So if I wanted to add some images to that as well. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You can just pull out what you need and go. All right, so those are some of the features in Clara Read. Some of the other literacy support softwares like Text Help, there are some that have been discontinued. So they are, no longer around. Many of you probably know their names. And yeah, I'll leave that there. If you have any other questions or want to see demos of anything specific in this software, please let me know. You can leave a comment or you can email me at atchick@atchick.org.
Thank you again for watching this week's episode, and I'll see you next week. Don't forget, though, we do have a live on Wednesday at 6 p.m., so please join so we can talk about the news, what's going on in disability law, what's going on in the world, anything related to assistive technology, accessibility, and disability. Have a great day. Bye.